And the slow fade out. Zach,
So
right in the
that's
slider bar
probably enough
down.
time.
Yeah, we have time for 6 people to show up, for Brittany to get jealous of Sasha changing her name. So now she is Unicorn Rider, which is awesome.
Oh, jeez.
She stole it from her daughter. Right on. That's a good one. Good one, Brittany's daughter. Nanda
right.
Plumes.
Well, I think actually it would be really interesting because like you talked about the idea of like when we were playing with lasers in the backyard and stuff like that. Like if people do find that kind of stuff interesting on here, like you have all kinds of like weird gadgets and shit, and we could just be like playing with them live. You know, like these pieces of acrylic and shit that he has. You could probably like pick those up at a fucking dump or a scrapyard or something
I
random
have
like
a bunch
that.
of
You know what
them.
I mean?
Yep. Yep.
So like there's no reason why we don't just fucking just create this on our own. Like technically the fact that they already have, you know, fucking 80 trillion views on the video says that it's already a successful piece of content. If YouTube is going to set the landscape as such that a successful piece of content cannot be reproduced by other channels that are enjoying the video as a community, then that simply means that YouTube is saying, please steal their fucking content, because they're not really actually allowed to take some kind of copyright on fucking putting a laser into a piece of acrylic. There's no copyright for them to be had there, right? So really, they're just giving you a free idea and then saying, no, you have to do it yourself. You can't just like repost their video. You have to actually make it your own so you could monetize it. You know what I mean? So,
Sounds good. I mean, if that's where the reality we're in now. Apparently, we are, because we keep getting that shit pulled, even though those videos last for several episodes, no issues. But now it's an issue. But so in addition to people sending sounds in, I mean, we can do our own shit too, and there's shit to play with. But if people are doing shit like anything during the day you find interesting, or thoughts or little things, I mean, we can play those on the show, and that just puts the community into the conversation. And your faces or audio or whatever, that would be awesome. So feel free to send all that shit in. You can be on the show that way too, remotely, through clips and things you send in.
even if you just find something cool and you think that other people in the community would be interested in it, you can send it over to me and Aaron. We'd see if there's some way that we can recreate it or model it or something that isn't, you know, utilizing other people's content. So, yeah.
Yep. That's the direction we're going anyway. So apparently we're just going there faster. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, it really, in the long run, it's better that way anyways. It'd be better if we took every single interesting video that we had ever seen, recreated it on our own, and had it all in one place, and then had like a trillion billion subscribers in that one place. And technically, they didn't need to use YouTube. They just went to our channel and went to everything through there. That would be the best for us. YouTube doesn't care who the fucking people are being piped through. That would just be dominating all the other YouTube channels. That wouldn't be, YouTube doesn't care about that. They're totally fine with that. So, as long as you don't fuck up YouTube's money in any way. And in this case, it's really just that these people have, like, their videos have been reproduced probably by significantly bigger channels than us. So they actually put in claims so that they could get paid what they should have been paid for creating the content, having the ideas, taking the time, etc. And so now it's automatically pulling videos like that. That's the only reason it's getting dropped, like, in the middle of the stream, is because the things, some kind of algorithm is catching it, which means they basically like put in this video and said like, watch for this video being played anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, apparently. I thought we'd get through some of that by doing it on being sped up, because then we wouldn't catch it until maybe after the show or a more thorough review. But obviously they fixed that problem, so bummer.
Yeah, I'm sure they come at it by multiple different ways. They probably come at it by like a frame recognition analysis, and then also by the audio analysis.
So. Yeah, that makes sense. And it was full screen too. I think when we played it before, maybe we had it in that window, shared screen, and maybe that was part of it. But I feel like we did full screen before, so I don't know.
had an overlay over the top of it, which I thought
was
good enough to not be like that. But maybe I was wrong. I don't know. You know, maybe it's best to keep things always windowed like this. I mean, I guess if we have like it windowed like this with our faces up, we never make that shit full screen, then we're not completely just reproducing their content. You know what I mean? We could be reacting over the top of it or whatever like that. And that maybe like skirts the rule or something. I don't know. It'd be super cool if like YouTube was just very direct about what their rules were, but they're not very direct about it. They're pretty much like the directness that they have is like, don't use other people's content.
And and then we have to figure it out as we go.
To the thing that we were watching. When I find it.
This is super cool.
On the plus side, we basically got through with the whole thing. There's not really
pretty much
else that they do on there, which is kind of funny, really.
And so just that concept of light getting trapped in objects, right? And then if you find the right angles, then you can find other reflections to move that light through, or to make within that object that's trapped, in a sense, where, I mean, we don't want to say we're trapped, I guess, but contained. So a fraction of our infinite light and infinite creator, being consciousness that's projecting in this body is in a similar way contained in this vessel. And so there's ways to move that light around within us to turn on epigenetic activations and expressions. And a lot of stuff they're doing was coming through play and excitement. So really trying things out and playing with things inside of yourself, like your own consciousness and different things in life as a
Yeah, and on like
connection.
a self-empowerment angle too, like what started out as like a single beam of light in there, right? This 532 nanometer laser that's going through there. When it was pointing at exactly the right spot, it was illuminating the globe as though it was lights inside the
Right.
entire globe, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
when they say the idea that like, one person couldn't change the world, well, on a light basis, we don't have any real fucking proof for that. Actually, like one person reflected properly actually could enlighten the entire world
I remember
according to physics.
Yeah, I remember just on that note, dude, I remember the orientation going into college, and one of the speakers, the adult speakers there that was part of staff at the school, was talking to us and our parents, whoever was there, about the place of life that the kids are in coming into the stage of college, and just making jokes or just saying positive things. One of the times he said, and then they feel like they're going to change the world, and everybody starts laughing, and I was really like offended. I'm like, fuck you, what's so funny? I am going to change the world. Like,
Yeah.
what is the joke here? I mean,
Yeah.
I get for other people maybe, but sorry, that is what's going to happen with my existence here.
Yeah, I got a lot of that growing up too, and I definitely always wondered like how many people get disempowered just by how kind of
Those
just like
statements,
casually that the people are like,
right?
you're not actually gonna change the world, and then they just like move
Yeah.
on from it, like it's so confident that that's never going to happen, which is a really weird situation because like probably anybody who has had effect enough on the world that somebody would claim that they have changed the world. Someone along the line probably told them, you're not going to change the world. And they just
Oh
like walked
yeah.
off from it all confidently and they were totally wrong. So it's like
And
kind of a
so
weird situation
also
to put yourself into.
with that, when you know what your truths are, whatever they are for you, the specifics for your life, for your progression, your goal, I mean, you can't judge your future, make your expectations based on past experiences. You can, because you're always assessing data, but you can't just like, that's where people are like, well, I haven't seen anybody else change the world, and that's usually just rare people and blah 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 blah. I mean, just as that example. But really, anything you're progressing in, I mean, you take the data of past experiences, but I haven't yet like been able to fly and all those things. I'm fully confident that is a part of our epigenetic expression, and that will be an experience in my life in the physical body. But I can't just base that off every time I try to fly and haven't flown. Every time I try to fly, I'm learning things of like inside myself, or what are the things that are causing disharmony, or I'm not in coherence to actually accomplish the thing I'm setting out to accomplish. But I'm never throwing out because there's something inside of me, plus evidences in my own life and my own belief systems and things I've experienced and processed, that says that is a reality for me. So regardless of what people say about it or their own experiences, well, just wait, motherfucker. That will be my experience. And it's not like I'm trying to prove it to anybody. The point is I'm not letting them disprove it to me in my own life and my own thoughts and my own experiences.
Yeah, I think it's important to really like, well, especially with our dreams, like to isolate them in a sense from other people with this. Because, I mean, like, I think energy can be exchanged quite easily. And even when we tell somebody, like, we have some big grandiose dream, if they now know about that and they do not believe in it, then that's like a part of the wave that is trying to collapse into a different particle in a certain sense. So it basically creates a rub, right? In a certain sense, it would be more effective to generate the ideal collapse that you're looking for to just never tell those people at all, right? Don't let anybody else observe the wave collapsing, and then you are the sole observer affecting
Yeah.
that wave collapse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is all over inside the entrepreneurial community. They're like fucking, basically move in silence. You know what I mean? Like let your actions speak for you. Like whatever. Don't have conversations. Make moves. I've seen so many of these quotes inside of entrepreneurship space, which is basically all saying the same thing. Like don't let other people in on what you're trying to do because unless you like need their help, they don't actually have the possibility of helping you with your dreams unless you like need them to help you with some step of it. So just like flaunting them around to them is really just providing opportunity that they could work against you. It's not actually providing any opportunity that they could work for you because you don't really need them. You're just flaunting
Yeah.
what your dream is to them, and you would probably have your time better spent just doing something to accomplish your dream.
At the same time, there's somebody I met in person. Watch this happen. So we met him, gosh, that was 12 years ago now, and spent two full days with him. And his eyes were really bad. But he was telling us, he was just adamant. He goes, "The Lord has healed my eyes." I'm like, "Okay." You're like, "All right, we'll stand with you." I mean, that's your belief. Like, we'll stand with you and we'll anchor that in because sure, why not? And he was really adamant about it. And he told the next story. The next day we saw him, his eyes were totally healed and fixed. He didn't need glasses or anything anymore, and they were getting really, really bad really quickly. And then he said that he had told everybody that day, everywhere he went, he saw it in the mirror. He said, "My eyes, the Lord has healed my eyes. It's done," right? So you can say, "My eyes are healed," whatever. It doesn't have to be in that any paradigm. It's the internal state that he was in. And then as he's going to the bus stop, like he can't see, he's getting his way there. And they're like, "Are you okay? What's wrong?" He's like, "Nope, I'm good. The Lord has healed my eyes." He kept saying that until like, I think he got off the bus and his eyes were healed. Like he was just really excited and passionate. This guy was all tattooed up. His life got changed by the Lord, that whole thing. But he actually lived that shit out really viscerally. So he's telling everybody, they're like, okay, not believing him, right? But his belief, he found a few people that agreed with him and held that with him, and he anchored that shit in.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I
I
don't know,
think
man.
if the other people that you do tell are like aligned with what you're doing, then I think that benefits you. Like more
Mm,
belief, more observer perspectives are going, yes, this is what's going to happen. I think it's beneficial. But if you're like working towards where I'm speaking from is like, I know I can do this completely on my own. Like I definitely don't need to tell anybody else about it. It's
mm,
totally just like my thing entirely. Then I mean, like you don't need those other people, right?
sure.
So
No, totally.
like, so what are they going to do to help you? Right? Like
Right. Well, and
you
that's
don't
what that
know
was
that
his.
they're going to agree with you. They could destroy your whole little
Well,
experiment
and
by
that
not.
that was his thing. Like he was telling us, he was glad we were agreeing with him. He wasn't like waiting for it or asking for us to agree with him. That was his reality he was living. We were just like, "All right, cool, dude. We'll agree with you." And other
Sure.
people are like, "Oh, you're crazy," but like he didn't care. So he's telling
Yeah.
everybody, but he doesn't care, man. He is going to make it happen. So he care less if he shared it or not shared it. He made it happen. So good for him. I want to
Yeah,
say,
for sure.
Michael Hartwig is new or Michelle. Sorry, Michelle. My middle name is Michael. I get those mixed up all the time. So nice to see you. Glad you're here. And she asked for a link on that, and then she also said when we were talking about, I think, um, being told you can't change the world. I think that's about when that comment came in. And then
I think
Don's is in
that's
here
when
too.
we were talking about the energy and like letting other people in on your dreams and stuff.
Either one. You can elaborate, Michelle. Don's asked question about dreams. Zach, could the ghosts people you see be sleeping dreamers in a disembodied realm? What'd you think?
I'm not I'm not directly sure as to what you're referring as these ghost people, but there definitely is the potential to be conscious of another person's dream. So I mean when you're saying be sleeping dreamers in a disembodied realm, you're kind of saying like could it be someone else projecting or some other consciousness projecting into that space? Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you're projected into the space, why couldn't something else project into the space? It's not really your space. It's the space you are projected into. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So the entire idea behind like you could even say the idea of like possession, exorcism, etc. insinuates that two things could project into the same space. Yeah, you wouldn't be able
yeah,
to be possessed by a demon, so to speak, unless two things could be projected into the same place. Uh, Astral projected to a place where everyone was asleep, but inside pods. Yeah, I yeah. I mean, like I actually have some interfaces with a childhood friend of mine where we've I wouldn't really say we come across each other. I would word it more like he knows how to get into my dreams sometimes. Would be the better way
mm,
of wording it. And it's a difference. Like I've had him in my dreams a lot of times, but he operates like a normal dream character, basically. And then I've had other times where he's in my dreams and it's very obvious that he is aware of being in the dream. Right? Like
cool.
he looks at me with like this cheeky smile on his face until I figure it out and shit like this. You know what I mean? And when I
Yeah,
figure it out, the dream always then takes like really weird turns. Like the most recent time that this actually happened, the whole dream before I realized that he was sitting in the back of this vehicle and was looking at me like this. We were just doing like reverse donuts in my friend's van in the parking lot of a restaurant. And I like came in this dream and I'm like, why am I so lucid in this dream that we're doing this? Like, what is going on? Started like looking around, looked to the back of the van and Matt was sitting in the back of the van. He's just like looking at me with his hands like kind of like on his chin and just like smiling at me with this maniacal grin. And as soon as I was like, this motherfucker knows he's in my dream. Like, poof, we were inside of this other household. Like, it just immediately teleported to this other place. So it oftentimes, once I recognize it, it will completely destroy the continuity of whatever the current experience is, and
Huh.
it moves to something else. It's pretty weird. But
Is that like,
definitely the shared dreaming thing, very, very, very possible. Governments have put a lot of money into this.
yeah, no shit. Yeah, because Unicorn Rider, Brittany says, Sasha and I have shared dreams, shared people and things in dream states, and we've never met, but we have. Which is true,
Yeah,
because
I
I
mean,
mean,
like if you
experiences.
start interacting with someone else, or even actually become aware of their existence, a certain level of entanglement has started engaging. And if an entanglement is engaged, then the potential of finding people somewhere else is very, very possible. That's really all it takes is any level of knowing that they exist. Really, the more that you actually interface in a coherent fashion with them, the greater the connectivity of these entanglements will operate at, and the easier it is to operate in functionally shared metaphysical spaces or utilize what you could understand as, I don't know, intuitive abilities, telepathy,
Mm.
concept sharing, shared learning, shared processing. The list, there's really actually a long list that basically no one talks
Definitely,
about, but
I can't think of a dream that's coming to mind where I've shared with somebody, but definitely meditations. I mean, Zach, even the meditations you and I have done together early on in the show and stuff. I mean, it's definitely what's interesting about that is there's a meditative energy or space that you go into on your own, which can be infinitely creative and whatever, but there's a signature frequency of you. And then when you're engaging with another person, every time I've done that, it creates new things. Like there's new things that show up that I know I wouldn't have thought of or come up with on my own that I can feel or from that other person's energy. So it creates like a shared space in your imagination, even in a meditative state, or even more viscerally. So dreams for sure. Why not? They're similar dream states. So I guess meditatively, you don't go deep enough to lose consciousness or into delta, I imagine. And so you're able to engage more and remember, retain those memories, that information, and those perceptions.
yeah. And I think if you really want to get far in this space, you need to realize that literally every type of experience is a dream. You're having a dream right
Mm,
now. You think you're awake, you're just in a different level of dream. Meditation is just a different type of engagement with the dream. Going to sleep and having a dream has like 20 different levels of various engagements that can transpire inside of there. Psychedelics just take a new turn on the dream. It's all
mm,
dreaming. Yeah, the Mayans believe this. Basically, all the entire Vedic culture believed this. A whole bunch of original tribes to the Americas believe this as well. It's actually kind of a more modern day belief that we aren't fucking dreaming right now. Actually,
yeah.
it was kind of
And then
more
you
the
take
standard of the world.
And then certain psychedelics like Lucy or acid, and let's take too much, Brittany, that just for me, that anytime the physical perception goes all swirly and melty, that to me it makes it very, very real that we're living in a dream because you're cognitively present. It's just like a visual overlay and other, little other dynamics, but that visual overlay in a pretty cognitively present state. Whereas mushrooms, you get into a similar place, there may be visual overlays, but there's a whole lot of stuff going on in your body and your mind. And that's
Yeah,
where in that dynamic, the closed eyes visuals always seem to be way better with mushrooms. But the benefit of other states with mind altering substances, or let's say perspective adding or perspective shifting substances instead of like mind altering, because it makes it sound all like bad, negative, and your mind is all altered and you're dangerous. It's like, come on. So, dude, Joe, it is called Lucy. Fucking look it up. Fuck you. It is called Lucy. It's also called Sid. It's also called a million other things. It is. Michelle says salvia. Yeah, we have a video on here earlier on that's about I think it's titled "The Salvia Pants Hallway." It's just an hour, and it's about just talking about salvia, and then a lot of that's sharing my experience that I had when I was down with Zach in California, and it was pretty awesome. Yeah, see, she said LSD is Lucy. Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, fuck you, Joe.
yeah. Joe's
Come on,
Joe's
this.
just gonna say that she's wrong too. Just saying.
I know. Yeah. Joe likes to just show up and chat and throw in little one-liners. Doesn't like. Yeah, I said nope. Doesn't like to come on the show. Come on, Joe. You're literally got to be like 50 feet away from Zach. You got to get on the show sometime.
I
We talk
doubt he's
about
50
music.
feet
Talk
away.
about them.
He's
Why is
probably
he not
much
home right
much closer than 50 feet.
now? Even better.
Yeah, 50 feet would be a long way.
Will
Really long way.
Will said Lucy and a Jew harp. Yes.
Yeah, that would probably be fun. I could definitely see myself playing with one of those things for a really long time. I really even just sober, so I can't imagine that
Yeah.
it would be a shorter amount of time aided by psychedelics.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, I'm probably gonna hop out of here and go try and finish up some other stuff. I appreciate y'all being here and dealing with the fact that we like to get our fucking content pulled down, or I guess it's other people's content pulled down from YouTube.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming back in here and dealing with the little technical difficulties and all technical difficulties that we have. We try our best, but live productions, yeah, usually you got a lot more people than two working on that. So thank you very much for doing that, and I will see you tomorrow. Aaron, I hope you have a very wonderful night.
Wonderful. You too, Zach. Love you very much. Have a good night.
Talk to you later.
Bye. Hey, guys. I'm outside and there seems like there's a delay on this, but we'll see what it looks like on YouTube. Oh, it's all grainy. Yay. Is what it is. So, oh, and it actually seems a little brighter, my screen's dull. So I was going to go inside, but I guess I could sit out here for a minute. Brittany said, and let's see. Will said, love you, Zach. Brittany said, bye, Zach. Love you. I mean, Unicorn Rider. Sorry. Gotta stop calling you out, Unicorn Rider. Well, there's more. See, on YouTube, it pops up, the comments pop up like, oh, there it goes. Sometimes only a few seconds, sometimes like minutes before they come to the StreamYard chat. Said there isn't. You look and sound good here. Oh, thanks. Nice. So the only thing I can think of talking about that came to mind, it's like, oh, it's actually what would I stay on and chat about? Life. Let's talk about life. Let's talk about how life sucks sometimes, because it does. And the only thing that we know is for sure in this life is change, right? So how do you get through shitty seasons in life, right? Community is awesome. Having people to give you a circumambulated perspective on situations you're going through, which is very, very helpful. People reaching out to see how you're doing, super helpful. Thank you for people in the community who have done that for different reasons at different times. It means a lot. And, those things are helpful. I mean, things to talk about in the practices, right? There's meditation. I mean, there's a lot of generic things. But really, it's whatever works for you and whatever you need to do. And if there's times you're going through shit, it's not like you have to get straightened out right away. And you have to like, oh, okay, I got to control my emotions. And there's an extent of that, right? I mean, you don't want to like be so emotional. You're doing shit that once you're less emotional, you'd feel like shit about, or you have to now repair relationships because you lost your shit on somebody or certain situations. And, so there's that. But it's also incredibly important to have safe places, like, our episode 10, Safe Sacred Space, part 2. We ended up doing a meditation at the end of that after going through a very detailed and high resolution image and map of DMT hyperspace. And then Zach, Jacob brought to our attention, like, where are the slugs? How come there's no slugs on there? And it just kept coming up. And then we had lots of conversations and went to a group meditation, shared what they experienced, and Zach led a wonderful, wonderful meditation. And but safe, sacred space. So a place where you can come and share. And, if there's shit going on, there's shit going on, man. It happens sometimes, right? So there's a balance in, right, between, there's the other dynamic. The far end of the spectrum is someone is just always wah, just always sharing their shit. I guess it's going to be called trauma sharing and different things for sure, right? But there's a place where you, Brittany said, call me out, brah. I don't give a fuck. All right, Brittany, because I like your name. And then people are like, who's Brittany? Yeah, after a while, because it's Unicorn Rider. But at least in my life and my experience, I've had really incredible human beings in my life through every stage of life to one extent or another. And, a mother figure or father figure or grandfather or grandmother in real life. Like, you don't have to be your actual family. People you've encountered in life that you felt like they've held that space for you. Maybe you had shitty grandparents, shitty parents, but you meet this person who's a father figure that age, or the way they talk to you or interact with you. Oh, need to hear that, Aaron. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I need to too. So I'm processing shit. But when you find someone who can fill that role energetically, right? A safe space, somebody meet, who knows what your interaction with is or how you meet with them, maybe go out to coffee with them or lunch or something every so often, or you see them in certain places, but that interaction is very pure. It's a safe, sacred space for you to connect with that energy that you may have never had growing up. And even if you did, to find those other people that are that open and that pure in that sense towards you. Nobody's perfect, right? But when in that dynamic, you know, it's so precious. It's really beautiful, and people are able to be there for other people. You know, I had somebody at work today because I was there yesterday and going through a lot of shit yesterday. At one of our accounts, and he met me out there, got me the keys I needed for the different buildings I need to go to, and his personal key card. And we've done this for 2 or 3 years. Like it's not a big deal. I would go do the rounds, and then I bring him back the keys and his card. Dude, so much shit just kept happening. Like I literally ran out of gas in the parking lot for one, like zero gas. My car wouldn't. It started and then just shut down. Totally out of gas. Brought out a gas can they had there in the shop and helped fill up my van. That's so I could get gas. And then I also lost his card. Dude, I just don't do that stuff. There's so many and then the stream getting pulled. Like there's so many little things that have gone so backwards. I know like as of today, I think we have Neptune in retrograde, which makes, I don't know, 7 planets. You know, so there's those things, right? Fine. But when those things start culminating on every level, it's not just a little practical. Oh, I ran out of gas, so I lost a card. I mean, it sucked. It was just a culmination of a lot of things. And I was just telling him shortly, briefly. We've had personal conversations before. I've interacted with him. He's a really nice human being. He's a really cool person. But I don't know. There's just things you don't share with everybody, right? And he obviously saw I was having a bad day, and he was just really nice. And then he actually texted me again today to see how I was doing, which was, you know, I mean, this is like a maintenance guy at one of our accounts. He's just a really cool human being. And I kind of unloaded on him, right? And he called me on a text, and he called me immediately. And I started crying because the way he started saying was so kind and just like really encouraging. Like I don't know him that well, right? Fuck, man. It's really nice. Also, I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying on the phone with one of our, like one of our, you know, somebody maintenance from accounts. Like, yeah, yikes. But, you know, shit, man. Sometimes shit's just really shitty. And to be able to cry, let's see, hold on. I'm not bubbles and rainbows and hearts all day long every day. Yeah, no doubt. Will said he can't handle my thunderstorms. You don't get to see if you can't handle my thunderstorms, you don't get to see my rainbows. Oh, that's really nice. I like that. Brittany says, I'll give you my rainbows. I'll give you my rainbow in your thunderstorm. That's really sweet. I really like what great metaphors to come up with. That was me today. Shit show after shit show. I had a meltdown. Yeah, I can relate. I've got a couple more coming, I think, because I'm still processing shit. But I don't know. I think all that's fine. I think in general, we need to be far more gracious with people as a generality. I think a lot of times that we see people going through shit and our reaction is maybe to be a little nice, but it's like, well, you just need to fucking pull up your bootstraps. You just got to get through it. No, and I get that. That's true. Like sometimes we need to hear that. And that is true. We are going to get through it. Right. But to be able to be, well, let's see. Will says, I cried today too and went for a walk in the rain. Okay. I guess now I'm concerned to play this video because of fucking the stream getting pulled down. When I pull up the lyrics from this song, from this video that I posted earlier on my Facebook, because it's a video that I took back in 2013 down at Pike's Place Market. And it's really, I mean, the music itself is beautiful. I couldn't find the lyrics online. I bought a CD from them there. I found that they'd, you know, since then or whatever, put their actual studio version online, which is good. I was able to make out the lyrics from that and then write them down because it's a little harder to hear in the live version. And 6 years ago, almost 7, I think, you know, my phone wasn't as nice. By the way, the phone mics for the most part are pretty damn good, really. So if you guys are planning on coming to the show, you don't need headphones, you don't need some special mic. Really, your phones usually work pretty good. The modern phones in the last 3-4 years, give or take. So just so you guys know that. Let's see. So it is a generality with people being able to hold space for them, right? As a friend, whatever that level of a friendship you have with a person, to be able to be present with them, right? Like Willow's been a part of this whole group and all the other groups, and you know she's caught more wind of what's going on specifically. And she even sent me another message today, just asking how I was doing, and sent me a great GIF. And you know, it's really nice. It's really nice. It's definitely those things that I feel like give you a stepping stone, or maybe are wind in your sails to kind of keep going, you know, something like that, you know. And like Brittany said earlier, that if you need, when she said, let me find it because it's really good, and it's great, and I totally agree. And just being able to create this space for people is really sweet and precious, and infinitely valuable. Let's see, actually, it might have been on the last chat. Let's see. I'm looking. Yeah, I think it was on the last chat. But Brittany was offering to Jasmine that if you just need a place to vent or process or whatever, to message her. So it's really nice, man. People do. People need a place where they can vent and just share all of their feelings and perspectives, and without like being interrupted. Like, well, actually, if you see it from both sides, it's like, all right, you can get to that eventually. That's fine. You know, sometimes people need to share. So, oh, I got a cough. Hold on. So, just got another text message from a friend. It was really nice. Hold on. Brittany said in here. I'll wait for it to pop up in StreamYard. Brittany said, I meant Jasmine, though. I'm not a people person. No, I totally get it. I'm not saying everyone message Brittany, but just the fact that you created that, you offered that space for her, you know, is really precious. And yeah, we can only, it's not like you can offer space for everyone. So there's when a resonance, when it's someone in the community or a friend, or you just feel that resonance with them to offer that space. It's incredibly precious and kind. And there's difference. Who was I talking about this with? Zach or, oh no, my brother's roommate, Rima. We had a conversation the other night, and we were talking about the difference. She was talking about the difference, and her, and actually it's my sister, because they worked together for a lot of years, had talked a lot about the difference between being nice and being kind. And there's a difference, right? Because nice guys finish last, nice girls, people, because they're just too nice. You know, let people walk over them. Oh, I'm gonna be nice. It's bullshit. I mean, come on, you got to find balance. But what's the difference? Being kind. You know, finding ways to be kind to someone, to show them gratitude, to give space to them, to give them a smile, to buy somebody in line behind you at the drive-through or Starbucks or whatever, buy their drink. I've had that happen a few times. I've done that several times. Like, it's cool, man. Like, I've had that happen. I'm like, really? They bought me fucking drink? I don't even know them. It's really nice, really kind. Put it that way. Marie says, Will can message me too. See, that's what I'm saying. Brittany's setting boundaries because she's being very kind. She's not just being overly nice. Big difference. Important difference. I was saying earlier about finding different parent figures or brother figures. I call Zach like my big brother, and you know, Frank and different people, and it's really cool to me because of linear time. Like on one hand, we're all just humans, right? We're all peers, we're all humans for sure. But when I can have interactions with Frank or Zach in ways that I feel like I allow myself to take the place. So, like for example, in native tribes and stuff, when they sit around in what do they call it? I don't know, when they're around in the tent or whatever, they're grouped together, that the elders always sit higher up than the younger people, or they and it's not like some lording it over you thing. It's not like on a stage. It's literally just like on a pad and the other people on the floor or something. But the point is showing recognition of the fact that there's these people who've gone through the shit on this earth longer than you. It's just a little thing. It's just a minor thing of just showing reverence for elders or for different people, and just it helps remind us that they've been through some shit. And sometimes you find other people that like they may have been through some shit, but they're shitty people. You know, good for you. You've been through shit, but you didn't really get through it very well. And now you're not a lot of fun to be around. All right, hold on. My tablet's about to die, apparently. So, and that's why I think it's janky on my end. I'm going to run inside and plug her in. So I'll kill the video here. I can keep chatting for a second while I'm going. Oh, there's the expanded understanding avatar. That's fine. I'll leave that one instead of the errand one. So when you can find people in life that can embody that energy, there's times that like even engaging with Zach or Frank at times, or other people, I allow myself in certain dynamics or conversations when I perceive it or feel it to move into the state of being a younger, someone who has been here less long, to see their wisdom. And also, even if they haven't been here that long, people younger than me, you can see again the way that they've experienced things and applied that experience into their own now wisdom. So because knowledge, when you apply knowledge, because action turns knowledge into wisdom. That is really bright. Hold on. better. So when you can find those places in interactions, when you can move into a place of either giving or reception, there's been a lot of times I've played those roles and I'm aware that I'm playing those roles for someone because they're in front of me and whatever they're going through, you can tell that they're starting to embody a fractal, if you will, of when they were wounded as a child, as a little girl, as a little boy, as a teenage kid, or whatever. And if you can find harmonic resonance with where they're at, you can embody the frequency that they need to perceive or hear or feel to find healing for this. Maybe it's a current situation that's coming up and it's causing some kind of trauma loop or emotional reaction or whatever it is. And we can hold that space in the harmonically resonant and coherent way with them. Then it can give them space to just process on their own. But you're creating a space that they didn't have as kids or wherever this trauma came from. Or maybe they were trying to share this with their dad or someone else and it didn't go very well, right? And so when you can create a space where it does go well, they process through and you're not shitting on them for processing. Sorry, I'm adjusting. Okay. And you're not shitting on them for processing, or you're not being impatient or frustrated with them. And again, we're not all perfect. These on some levels are ideals that we practice over time, and being aware of not just ourselves in a conversation, any conversation, but aware of the other people involved and where they're at and how they're perceiving things, and finding a way to dance through that conversation, even in silence. Let me read some of the comments here. Oh, I'll get you, Brittany. We can only hold so much space sometimes. That is so fucking true. All of you fearless expanded family can always message me. That was great. Thank you, dear Willow. Yes, I have an autistic kid and her dad passed away, so it's just me. I only have so much left after that to give. Yeah, no kidding. Right? And kids comes first. I mean, that just is what it is. When you have friends that start having kids, I mean, I went through a dynamic where a group of us that were really close, like 12 years ago, all started getting married. And then they started all having kids. And like to this day, they have like 2 to 5 kids. And I don't have any. We never had any when we were together. And so, there's a understanding of, and I didn't, like, for example, all those friends come from very much, and they're still in the Christian paradigm and are really great human beings within that framework. But I knew as I was growing through this process and like the amount of conversations it would take with them to just like, for them to see where I was thinking or why I was thinking about things a certain way, would just be, they don't have time. They just don't. And that's okay. And I respect that. Like, they're raising their kids and they're doing the best they can to do that. And their priorities have come around their home and their family and the things that they built and constructed. So I infinitely honor that with anyone and whatever someone's going through. It's an incredibly precious place to be a parent figure, whether it's biological or any other dynamic. And with autistic children, I've done a lot of work being care providers for autistic children in different camps and things. And so I'm familiar with a lot of those dynamics, but I'm not a parent. So it's different than living 24/7. It's a totally different thing. So I have incredible amount of respect and honor for you, Brittany, in that time. And anyone who has kids, really. I mean, there's a lot of people I think in the chat to do. I know Jasmine does, and I know Sasha does, and there's other people. And it's just such an incredibly precious role to hold, and to be aware of that with friends too, that when they have kids, that's just, there's only so much time. They may have been really great friends for you before that, at that time, and it's just their life has shifted. That's okay. Like, really, it's okay. Let's see. Had some questions about autistic people come to my mind today, and the ones I work with kick me out of my frame of reference. A good utilization of negative energy instead of just negative, or a good utilization of negative energy instead of just negative. Can you elaborate on that, Don? Michelle says, thank you for calling Michael, because I see MIC and I just think, oh, maybe only Michael. That's Michelle. Let's see. She says, people with autistic children, people with autism, children with autism, stigma. Sorry, I'm up here, Brittany. You're in the Seattle area. Sorry, not sorry. I think Brittany's not in the Seattle area. I forget where you live, Brittany. I'm in the Seattle area, and there's probably, let's see, 1, 2, Jacob and Samantha are around here. There's a bunch of other people that are, I think, in the Expanded Understanding group, in the Fearless group that are in this area. We're like 8 or 9 of us that have met through the groups and then physically met up here over the last year and a half. And it's been really, really, really cool. Actually, really just last year. Yeah. So actually, let me read this text that came in. Maybe that'll give me something more to talk to. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice that when you talk to people long enough that you have shorthand. That's always fun. Like, the more you get to know someone, the more like shorthand you have, or inside jokes, if you will, but it's really shorthand, just different references to other conversations and stuff that happen over time. So there's a lot of beauty being able to develop relationship over time. And on that dynamic too, I mean, in many ways, there's no relationship that's ever lost, right? So to be able to tune back into the energy of that relationship and the beautiful things that happen or the hard things that happen, and be able to find new layers of healing or self-acceptance or perception by reassembling those dynamics, you know? I've definitely found in life that there are people you meet that can be the opposite frequency to other people you've met in life, and just meeting them and interacting with them, even if it's not some deep like conversation, just even like in groups or chats or posts or like, can be incredibly enlightening and healing to see someone embody the opposite of something that you've perceived or experienced that was very traumatic. You know, I guess on a similar dynamic, I feel like being able to talk about Christianity and the different upbringing, the texts and things that I have, that some people it's still too much just to talk about it. And that's understandable, because there's been some really shitty Christians that have done some really shitty things to their kids and other people, and that sticks. And that can take a long time to heal from. And sometimes it's just, even if you heal from that, doesn't mean you want anything to do with that. Totally understandable. Completely understandable and totally fine. You know, I have that's in my life experience, and that's in part of my knowledge base and whatever, but it's not who I am anymore, you know? So there's our texts and things I like to go through, because the beauty of them is finding the parallels and the metaphors and the applications for way they benefit my life now. Because if I'm just going into old beliefs or old texts or old things I've experienced before, but there's no real benefit for me now, well, it's time to let some of that shit go. So I've let a lot of that go. There's a lot of Hebrew and stuff I can't quote anymore because I'm just not into it anymore. I don't get the same life from it that I used to. But while I did, I saturated that shit. You know, if you're getting life from someone or a thing, fucking, I guess my encouragement would be saturate that shit. Like Zach talks about in the other videos. Find what feels good, stop, determine what feels good in your life, what people, the way people talk to you or the way people interact with you or the people that treat you. Like, really think about the ones that feel good and dissect that. Why does it feel good? Why is what they do or say feel good versus what these other people do, or actions or activities or things we read or study or meditations or whatever? Like, what feels good? And this is stop, determine what feels good, find what feels good, go that way. Like, really, it doesn't mean like, okay, I drop everything, just do the thing that feels good. Sometimes. Other times it's allowing over time in our psyche and in our conscious to slowly add more weight to that side of the teeter-totter, if you will, to give over time even mental cognitive weight, to think about what feels good, and in your mind go that way. Like, give weight to that. What feels good and why? And over time that'll change your own internal subconscious algorithms. So you will start and decide. You can make those statements like, I am going to pursue in my life the things that feel good at the deepest levels, not pleasure, mean, that too, right? It's different English words. So only a fool pursues pleasure, or those who pursue pleasure end in ruin. Like for sure. If you're just pursuing, you're like negating all responsibilities. And I know people and stories where at like 2 years old, their dad wasn't able to pay for their own diapers and shit, but he's out buying gold chains and stuff. That made him feel pleasure. So there's an extent on that that's like, all right, you maybe need to reconsider what is just falling pleasure, but feeling what feels good, what feels right, what feels wholesomely whole, and pursue those things. Set a course in your internal life that I'm going to turn this ship around from just tolerating the things that feel like shit because the ship's been running really well this way for a long time. It took me a long time to get the ship to run this way. So the effort of turning the ship around and all that other shit, it's just not worth it, and that's fine. We're in those, I think a lot of us are in those places in different areas of life for a long period of time until it's just too much. It's like, why wouldn't I turn the ship around? Look where everybody else is going. Look what everybody else is doing over there. Look at the messages I get from these other ships, but they're over there, and it feels good. What they're doing is good. The things they say is good, right? So it's like, fuck that. I'm gonna start changing the heading on the course, and maybe it's gonna take a nice long turn. Some things don't have to come to a crash landing. We can change our heading over time and steer the ship, if you will, towards the things that feel good, that are coherent inside of us. And when you're surrounded by things that feel good, when you go through really shitty things, you have all those other things that really feel good. Honestly, like at a core level, some of the things, like we talked about this, I think about the third episode, like weighted blankets, but like a weighted blanket and me be able to like cozy up, even in my van and stuff. I've got a whole setup there that I can literally lay down very comfortably and pass out. And I do often, did this afternoon. I borderline narcolepsy disorder, and which talking to doctors and everything, which here's an interesting dynamic on that. So when I was doing a bunch of sleep study tests and a daytime study test and all these things, and then getting all that reviewed by an actual doctor who that's all he does is review the stuff and study the stuff. And he was asking me some questions. He asked me if I ever had strep throat as a kid, and he asked me specifically if it's ever moved to my kidneys, which it did. I'm like, what a weird question to ask, right? And I had streptococcal glomerulonephritis. And strep throat moved my kidneys. Was hospitalized for a little while. I think it was like 7. And he said, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And they kept going on and like asked questions, and like he had me open my mouth and he's looking at my jawline. He's like, yeah, based on the size of your tonsils and your jawline and the fact that you had strep throat when you were a kid and all that stuff. He goes, yeah, that narcolepsy is actually an autoimmune disorder, and a lot of times it is triggered or activated when strep throat moves to another part of the body. He said that plus all these other dynamics in your life. He goes, I guarantee you have what we would diagnose as narcolepsy if you did the sleep study one more time. Sometimes when you do them, it's just new environment and all the wires all over your head and all that stuff that can throw the readings off a little bit. But he said they're so close. And he goes, I know if you did it again, you can get the official diagnosis. And I said, because right now it's just like borderline narcolepsy disorder. And I was like, well, can I keep taking Adderall right now without a diagnosis? Because that was really helping. And I was on that for years, and I've been on Adderall for well over a year. But he's like, no, you don't need a diagnosis. All right, let's not get official diagnosis on my medical records that I'm narcoleptic, and because this works. And the other thing is my own personal tactics and tricks for doing. Like I know when I get tired now, the difference is when I start to get tired, it comes over quickly. I don't just like, it's not like there's a spectrum. So you can be narcoleptic and you're not still the movies type where you're just in the middle of a conversation and just, you're out. But it comes on really strong and really hard. And the way that I've experienced that in my life is I feel like that's my higher self or my light bodies or things that like, okay, there is a lot going on right now, even if it's not a lot that I'm aware of, not necessarily hard or difficult or intense. It's just, there's a lot. I'm always processing a lot. But that it just starts to just come over me. I get really tired, and I have minutes, plenty of time. As long as I really need, I can force myself to stay awake. But I try to honor that, pull over as soon as I'm able, and I literally just pass out and take a nap. Sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes for an hour or whatever, and then just keep going. And my job allows me to do that, which is great. Every job I've had actually has allowed me to do that. Just the dynamics of the job, I've been able to, be able to take a nap when you take a nap or whatever. So the way that I cure that, in a sense, where I manage that, if you will, without Adderall especially, is I just pull over, man. And I really feel integrated. A lot of times I can have visceral dreams, even if I don't have visceral dreams. I just feel better. It just feels right when I'm tired to honor that and to sleep. And so that's just kind of my dynamic with that. I'm trying to think what the bigger picture was of what I was saying. But let's go through comments because that always helps. So also. People that are wired differently are often an opportunity. Very true. To see through their eyes. Very true. I was given the choice of a sweet or bitter experience. I would pick sweet. So bitters, but bitters have a utilization too. Very true. There's bitters you can take for for digestion. They've done that at different times too. So you can get them in tinctures, and they're bitters from roots and herbs and just bitters that stimulate your liver and your gallbladder and different things in your body to pre-produce. You put them on your tongue sublingually before you eat your food, the bile and the different enzymes or whatever the chemicals they produce to help process that food better of what you're about to eat. So there's a lot of ways to do different Ayurvedic techniques and medicine and different supplements that work for you that allow you to have a beneficial experience. So if you take that with people too, bitter people, and not just avoiding bitter people, but understanding sometimes bitter people are very satirical or very stoic humor. What do you call it when people are very? It can be like a down. Like I'd say Bill Burr is one. If you're listening to his comedy, that he's very, the stuff he presents is just great, and he's like this stuff he thinks about. He's just sharing his mind, but it can be very cynical or critical. But it's funny. The way he does it is just really funny. He's just sharing his perspective. Being able to talk about the bitter things in life, but find a way to integrate them into levity and humor. Or I don't know if we're talking about on the show, but Frank and I were talking about it. I know we were talking about on the show too, levity and then joking and being the Joker. And then Frank and I were talking about that also, that the most powerful deck in the card, the tarot card, or that whole paradigm is the Jester or the Joker. And they're the only one that literally is paid, and it's their role to make fun of the king. You're talking about native tribes too. They had someone like that. That was their role, to mock or make fun of, make light of the council's decisions. They knew that because comedy, through factual circumstances, brings whole entirely other perspectives. And if you think about it, comedians like, what's a really good one? George Carlin is a great one. There's a lot of truth in there, right? But the way he spits it out in comedy is hilarious and true. One says, you're an amazing being, Aaron. It shows. It just shows. Well, that's nice. Thanks. I'm noticing, where are they? I called these my sun rays last summer. I like them. Because you can call them crow's feet too, but I like sun rays. We all have, yeah, she's in Atlanta. Brittany is doing admin Facebook stuff. Yeah, Brittany admins several groups, or at least two right now, that are awesome. Brittany does an incredible job with the stuff that she does and really taking care of those groups and the people in there and what's being shown. So good job, Brittany. The guy knows what he's doing. A big pharma don't care how you get the prescription, and no doubt. Sasha said, shouted us. Oh my God, guys, I got new makeup a few days ago, and I was testing out a new loose powder set. Got in my eyes. My eyes have been swollen, red, blurry vision, and just so much sticky powder mucus. Because when you wet powder, it turns into a clay-like consistency. And OMG, that's what I was just doing, wiping my eyes out. Oh, what a bummer! It's the worst. Getting stuff in your eyes is the worst. Let's see. I was Juvia's Place, Nigerian-owned company, has the best eyeshadow formula I've ever seen. Love her brand, but the eye stuff is the worst. I got this, I don't know, sometime in the last 6 months. I was at a float tank. I've done float tanks like 100 times, but this time I think I must have wiped my eyes in there. I must have, or something, and slowly for the next like half an hour after I was leaving, my eyes were all blurry and they were starting to hurt, and I rinsed them out a ton in the shower. And it just got worse and worse. I mean, all the lights on the way. I think I was on the way to my parents that night, way here, and I got here, and they were just getting worse and worse and worse, and it was bad all night. I had to do compresses on my eyes, all sorts of different flushes, and it's just like this anguish of pain that you're just trying to not flip out because it's just sustained pain indefinitely in your eyes. Not fun at all. Sasha, if you have colloidal silver, dab some on with cotton ball. Awesome idea. Great idea. I wish I thought of that because I have colloidal silver. I just didn't think to do any of that. I don't know if it would have helped with salt, but that's still a great idea. I would definitely try it. Colloidal silver is really good for your body in those ways. It helps eye irritation. Sasha, that's because she's a Virgo. Is that, hold on, Brittany made a comment about that earlier. Is that about Brittany being Virgo? No, she said she's a Virgo. Jasmine. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Jasmine, yeah. I wish I had that. Damn good to know. Yeah, colloidal silver is actually readily available now. It wasn't a long time ago. You can get them at most health. I think I might have seen like QFC. like the health food section, maybe. You can get on Amazon for sure, and you get different parts per million, and they're used for a lot of different things. You can put them in water. You can use them on wounds. Colloidal silver. Think about this: the people that had, we talked about the colloquial term, born with a silver spoon in your mouth, and being rich. Well, really, it's back in the day when they used lead plates. Let's see, hold on. Good for ashes, immunity, scrapes, and stomach. Very true. Great way to describe it. Arrow, the eye thing. Whatever it is, I'll take the compliment. But back in the day, they used to use plates, lead plates for the common folk, which again, this incorporates the words profanity and holy. So profane, even though we think of that as like curse words and, bad or negative, but profane really means common. So the common plates that you have out for guests, it could be glass plates, normal plates, whatever. But then, not that everyone has this. I mean, we didn't even have this. We were gifted China, and did we keep it? I don't know if we sold it or something. We kept it as a sentimental value, but like that's not our thing. I don't know if that's a lot of people's thing nowadays, but at least the concept of pulling out the good china. Those are the holy things. They're set apart for special occasion. So, born with a silver spoon in your mouth. The lead plates were common, profane, right? The average person could afford a lead plate. They're getting sick. They're getting lead poisoning. But the rich had silver plates. They weren't getting poisoned. Silverware, and silver spoons. So that's where that term comes from, if you didn't know. One of the million points of nuanced piece of information that I have accessible to me from my life experiences and intake of information. Yes, Unicorn is a Virgo, and that's why she manages being an admin so well. Totally makes sense. Good to know. Just said you can get a machine to make your own on Amazon for around $350. It's not bad since a small bottle alone can cost $15 more. Very true. But if you get the really high ppms, because $15 is usually a lot more affordable for people than $350, because you're right, and you can actually do all sorts of colloids. You can do platinum, palladium, gold, and use different rods, and you charge them with voltage through ionic water or distilled water. Let's look into it again. But it breaks off just the individual atoms from the silver or the gold and suspends them in the water, and so then you can take it in that way. So a lot of the colloidal gold, if you want to go far, or colloidal silver or whatever, the colloids, you just get the higher ppm, 200 parts per million, 500 parts per million, so it's very dense. And then you can get some distilled water, little sprayer bottles or whatever, dropper bottles, and mix it with more water and just dilute it down. So that's why you can get more out of them. Those are like $15 too. So there's many ways to achieve these things nowadays, which is great. To make your own silver juice. Yes, you can. Thank you all participants. All appreciated. Later, livers. Bye, Dons. It's really nice to have you here. Sash said, love you, Don. And I need a GoFund page to save for my eyeballs. There you go, Sash. Set up a GoFund page. I'll donate to it. We'll get you some colloidal silver. Make community thing. Colloidal silver for the community. Yeah. So, you guys want to see a cool crystal I got recently? It's this guy. It's off of wish.com, which is on the Facebook app all the time, or the Facebook feed. And it's amazing how inexpensive these things are. I'm like, holy shit. Definitely want one of those. So I've had that one on me. That was at the fire around, like at the Carlsons on Saturday. Yeah, with a bunch of other things. With a bunch of other things. Because that's fun. Fires at Jacobs are great. Awesome. It's just a great environment for it. And he has, let's see. Yeah, hell yes. Is that for the GoFundMe page or the crystal? Probably both. We'll say both. That's sick, AA Ron. Yeah. See, Joe? Joe just pops in to cause shit. Joe's the one who always calls me AA Ron. I think it's always gets mad when I call Lucy Lucy. There you go, Joe. Fuck you. Brittany agrees. And Yoda Tay, bitches. Yoda Tay, by the way, for those who are new in here, there's only 5, so you probably aren't. But Yoda Tay means fuck you. And fuck you means I love you, because they're the same thing. So Yoda Tay, bitches. Love that shit. I don't know. What else? Life, being able to embody energies of other people, to hold space for people, and Here's to me what a grandmother energy would look like. She said he didn't give me enough time to see it. I'm looking through 2 clay balls, right? Meow. All right, fair enough. Why don't we put it up on the screen? Hold on, let me polish it up a little bit. I know it was a little smudgy. Sorry, Crystal. I'll keep you nice and clean. And I'm trying to remember what this is because it definitely looks like kind of like obsidian, but it's got this really cool gray stripe through it. So I'm not quite sure, but it's awesome. Here it is. It's like the monument. Ooh, or the black mirror, the black monument. Oh, look, you can see my phone in the reflection. And then there's the ring light. It's brightening up my face. But yeah, this thing's big. It's like as big as my head. Like, nice. There's Sash. You see it? She said she wanted to see it. Jasmine said, Yoda Tay. Will said, have fun with your balls, Sash. Well, if you keep getting me all hot and bothered, I'll make sure I'll have a chance to play with them too. You'll have a chance to play with them too. You guys are awesome. Did you see it, Sasha? I'll have to wait till you comment because I'll leave it up there for you. And I'll see if we can show you the gray stripe that's in here. I don't know if it'll come through on camera. There's 2 of them. So there's one. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So that's not a reflection. That's a really cool gray stripe through the crystal. There's another one here. Look at that. And then there's cool marks here. That's not just like a, well, that one kind of was a scratch on there, but the other ones are, I think it's just the way they polish it down. I mean, there's imperfections in crystals. That's why diamonds can be so expensive, or any gem. The more clarity you have to the diamond, the more precious it is. She said, oh, she's thick. A little bit. Thick and slick. It's true. Very slick. A little smudgy at parts. So like a grandmother energy. So finding someone. So my grandma is a great example. So very much in a lot of ways, very much fundamentalist Christian in her belief system. We've had really beautiful conversations actually about the other beliefs and traditions and tribes and the connection of their connection to spirit and just different words, right? And she's really resonated with that. Like she's been obviously like in a way that like she's thought about these things through her life, and she's like, yeah, that makes sense. Different things. I'm like, cool, right on. But other times I'm rattling off about all sorts of things. And I've said this before, and it's true, and it's worth saying. But she said, one time she said, and I've seen this in her when I'm sharing, and she's giving me space to just share about life or things or whatever, right? That interests me, and just hanging out with her at times. She said, I don't think I necessarily agree with everything you're saying or even understand it, but you're really happy when you say it, and that makes me really happy. So finding people in your life like that, that's a grandma energy, a mom energy, if you will. It's something where it's like, they're just letting you be you, as different as it is to them as it may be. If they see your internal feeling state and disposition of being happy and joyful, and that makes them happy, man. I think it's a really cool way to just enjoy other people and just let people be and not be annoyed by so much that other people do. And like, again, there's always different dynamics. It's one thing if you have a regular friend, partner, whatever, then they do things regularly that they're talked about and they're continued to do, and they get on our nerves and all that for sure. But in general, like being able to hold space people for in that way, that you just honor them and their uniqueness, and you enjoy them more than that, enjoying them in their uniqueness, even if you don't agree or understand. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Let's see, Sash said, thank you, love you. It's such a dope tower. I agree. And she said, wait, that ain't cute. What the fuck? I don't know. Change your mind? Trying to think of another dynamic. I don't know. Kind of running out of a stream of things to say, guys, but I know you're active in the chat, so happy to hang out with you. As long as you guys are participating and happy, so that's great. I'm here. You guys have any thoughts or topics or things? Oh, that's what I was going to do. Now that I'm back inside, I'm going to read through these lyrics. Hold up on my Facebook, even if we don't watch it. And you know what? Maybe we'll risk watching it. I wouldn't have been concerned about it until our fucking stream got pulled, and that's super annoying. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that's great. It's on. Oh, it's made it really small. So let's go down to here. Oh, that's a good question. All right, we can get to the lyrics in a minute. Let's see. Tell us about your first acid experience. No, wait, San Pedro. All right, good question, Sash. So the first psychedelic experience I had was in San Pedro in Barbados last year. Let's see if I can do that. And it was with Andrew Bartis, andrewbartis.com, and I'm trying to think where else you can find him. He's all over YouTube. He's got really good material. And if it resonates, I mean, with anybody, right? If it resonates with you, just go with it as long as it resonates with you. And if it doesn't, then move on. So anyway, his stuff resonated with me for a very long time. It was very, very beneficial and helped me kind of at the final stages of constructing the paradigms I needed to expand my understanding fully outside of any construct. You know, it really, really helped bridge that gap for me in a lot of ways. There's a tremendous amount of insight that he has in teachings and just an incredible, incredible being. So in Barbados, when we went out there, I was out there for 6 days, and it really felt like 6 weeks. It was very much a no time zone, very much an interdimensional place. I mean, it was really 6 weeks of conversations and connecting. That's where I met Angela Miller, by the way. That's how we connected. Was in Barbados, and now granted, that was definitely not her first psychedelic experience. She's been doing that a long time. But Sasha says, no way, Barbados sounds so lovely. It really was. Barbados was really nice. That's where I think Rihanna's from, so she's real popular downtown, and monuments. I think there's a monument to her stuff, and like her house, people know her house is labeled there. And but the place we were at was in the middle of the island, and so it was a 400-year-old mill house. There's a big grind mill on the property. There's a swimming pool. Actually, the first time, so okay, we got there. But the house, 400-year-old house, right? And they leave the doors and the windows open pretty much all the time. And because they're in the middle of the island, it created this vortex that allowed it to be the temperature is perfect all day, all night. It wasn't hot and tropical in a way that was, like humid and sweaty and nasty. It was just awesome. So the property itself was beautifully, physically wonderful, interdimensionally wonderful. The grind mill is where they literally would grind, I think, what was it? Sugar cane? I mean, for years in a circle, right? There's thing of the vortex that's making it look like a rook from a chess piece. So like they started big at the base and then went up to the top, big hole in the middle. Really beautiful. I actually spent 1 or 2 nights out there. I do different rituals or contract revocations or different things, just really connecting and doing that out there. What else? Angela, Brittany, Unicorn Rider. So you got to go to bed. Love you all, beautiful people. Sasha, love you the most. You guys are wonderful. Night, Brittany. Night, Unicorn Rider. Ride away into your dreams. So we were out there, and the night we did San Pedro, we actually did 2 nights in a row, and it was still at this point probably one of the softest psychedelic experiences I've had. Now I'm still open to experiences there, and with Aya. I think is going to be coming up very near in my future because all the shit I was talking about earlier, I'm like, yep, this is the time to really dive into Aya. I think for me, that'll be good. I was talking with Frank about that, and he's supposed to come out soon anyway, so that might just happen synchronistically. But San Pedro is much softer, if you will. And I remember the second night, and I'm also, that being softer and that dynamic, also being open to some of the feedback I was getting on different things. And there's places that I maybe wasn't engaging or letting go or engaging my heart enough in certain ways, which was super discouraging the first time. I'm like, what? I'm super connected to my heart. Shit, what am I missing? What am I fucking up? And the second night was much better. The second night, it's Night, Brittany. Sasha says, I fell in love with Angela the first time I met her. Oh my God, Brittany, you have my whole heart. Mwah. Sleep peacefully, gorgeous. Yeah. Yeah, Angela and Brittany are both wonderful. Oh my God, Brittany too. She stole my everything immediately. You guys are great. So the second night on San Pedro, I remember at one point I was going to go swimming. which is fine. It was open for anybody to do. I was just going to go do that. And so I went over to the end of the pool and dove in underwater. And I did this like 30 or 40 times. I don't know, a lot of times. I dive in and I get up and walk around the edge. Now I'd always walk in different directions, or sometimes I'd walk and then just throw myself in the pool, like to be unpredictable, right? To do something novel. But each time I go, I dive underwater. I'd swim all the way underwater into the other side of the pool. And each time I went underwater, it was like going into different realms and realities. It was really, really cool and different experiences. And I remember, I remember at one point, like a bunch of them came over and just were watching me. And they were just kind of talking, but they were watching me. And because I was really into it, man. I was aware they're there, but I'm really into my thing and whatever I'm doing. And they seemed to be enjoying it. And I remember coming back one time, I'm like, man, I'm learning so much about myself right now. This is awesome. Right. And then just kept diving in and swimming. And there was a time I was in the shallow end there and playing with my laser from the top of the water down through the water and off my fingers, which is interesting. We were watching, so great call, Sasha, because we were watching that laser underwater video today that got kicked off. But that I remember also seeing different colors of lights coming out of my different fingers. Now, my dumbass didn't write them down, and I haven't really sat down to intuitively tune into it again to remember which light was which finger. But it was very visceral, and just the bigger understanding and awareness that there are different frequencies that come out of different meridians or fingers or parts of his DNA skin suit technology. And ever since San Pedro, I very much move my hands when I'm singing or listening to music, like a lot. There's a lot of, you can call them light codes or something. It feels like creating music or doing something with my hands. And I've engaged that too. And actually like seeing myself move threads of just timelines of reality or things in front of me or around me while I'm doing that. So I'm engaging it in that way. And yes, that was my sister. Just walked by in the background. She just came out from having a cigarette. So yeah, so that was probably the crux of my San Pedro experience. I also wrote some really cool poetry, actually. I'm trying to think if I have one like readily available. I could. Oh shit, I've got it in my fucking journal right here. Well, that's cool. Right over here. I mean, no wait, right over here. No, it's over here. All right. Spinny chairs are great. Awesome. Got a lot of good shit in this journal, actually. It's probably a good go-to for really any time. There's other quotes now I'm thinking of that I probably will definitely share. Oh, this is during my trip in Barbados. This is I wrote down the lyrics of the song by Sat Singh, and the album The Story of You, and the song is Make It Better. And I wrote on this page with there's a bunch of other things on here that are super meaningful. I don't know if you can see. You guys are getting through on this end because it's colored pencil. It's a lot more vivid on my end. It looks really light, but there's maroon skies and crystal waters, and I love that very much. All right, let's see. Huh. Forgot that was in there. Read that later. Oh, here's a quote from Maya Angelou. Forgiveness is everything. When I think of forgiveness, I'm brought to weep with gratitude that it exists. Sasha said, "Hi, Mandy. I'll let her know. Big ass hugs to you, pretty lady." Oh, I will let her know, Sash. That's really kind. I don't know if you hear her talking about kindness versus niceness earlier, and that was very kind. Kind is the good thing. Nice is where you get trampled on. Oh, here's my Barbados. Ceremony preparation, list of intentions, and all those different things. Oh, here it is. How do I show this? All right. Let's see. You see it there? So it says a subtle dissolving of the veil, once hidden. I can't read it through the screen. I gotta read on here. That's what it looks like, though. A subtle dissolving of the veil, once hidden, were the realms that are now revealed. Countless worlds within worlds within worlds within worlds of beauty and unlimited points of view. It's true. It's good. Cool. All right, so here's another one. This one, I titled it interesting. So the greatest adventure slash gift, but not slash gift, like adventure and gift are ever exchanging. It's not about the destination, always. It's about the adventure, getting to that destination, and then once you're at the destination, finding new adventures from that point of view or from that place. So this one is the great adventure gift. Great adventure gift. There we go. So you guys know I'm reading something. Once caught and given focused attention to come into resonance, there is elation, but no sense of urgency. She uses more of her own energy to co-create equally with me. Slowly, the joy and anticipation increases in both of us as we continually put attention of focused awareness into it, unwrapping each layer and bringing it eventually into perfect clarity, filled with joy and anticipation, with wonder and awe, filled with beauty of this new perspective at the revealing, observing, feeling, and experiencing of each layer, perceiving each subquantum and superluminal detail, and always finding new nuances everywhere in between. Endless wells of wisdom, of understanding, of love, of pain, of the journey of the heart to the one she loves. This is Great Spirit's greatest mystery, greatest power, greatest gift. Oh yeah, interesting. Which part, Sash? All of it's super interesting and super connects to you right now and today also, and that's really cool. There's a lot of other beautiful things in here that are awesome to look at right now because it feels really good inside. And you stop, determine what feels good, and go that way, according to Zach Mortimer, and I concur. Zach Superfluidic Mortimer. Some other quotes in here, which I think I've read before in different shows and things, but they're really good. So this is one of the first parts of my. Oh shit! All right, let's throw this up here real quick. Should have done this from the beginning. Okay, so this is like the intro or kind of the beginning of my journal. And so there's different things. This is a picture. Oops. This is a picture of me in the womb with myself as an adult and with little Aaron, if you will. Brain, heart, intestines, brain, heart, gut. Your total mind coherence. And all right, there's some really good quotes here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to lace them with the quotes from the song that I posted on Facebook a few hours ago, I think right before the show, and read the lyrics because they're really good. I'll do it this way. So, and this is on a video from these guys, which, again, I don't know, we may or may not try to play, but it's on my Facebook. There's my name, and there's my face, so you can find me and look it up on there. And the links are down below, I believe, also. So I said I filmed these beautiful, soulful humans at Pike Place Market in Seattle 6 years ago. I couldn't find the lyrics online, so I typed them out below while listening to the song. I cried a lot, LOL. I also included a link to the studio version, but that one doesn't include the badass washboard player. Which is true. It's really cool having him there. I watched a lot of songs that day, and I've seen him once, twice since then. To kick it off, here's the most beautiful line in the song to me, although pretty much every line is profoundly moving and beautiful too. And if you love too much, You forgive everyone. Only then have you loved enough. Okay, now listen to the lyrics to this song. And this song is so good. I really want to play it. Fuck. All right, let's just go through it. No matter how much light you bring to the world, you always cast a shadow. No matter how deep the oceans go, to the earth they're shallow. It may be cloudy and it may be night, but the sun's always shining. I tag Frank, Kevin, and Zach in there. Oh, there you go, Frank, Kevin, and Zach. And playing with the bees. Let's see. But the sun's always shining. Don't look too long because it can be blinding. And playing with the bees will get you stung. Even too much singing in the sun will leave you with a sunburnt tongue. And the song is called Sunburnt Tongue. Look up too long, you'll get scared because you won't find answers there. It's just another way that life isn't fair. Drink too much, just don't drown. Going too far north and you'll be southbound. And get too high and you can never come down. Listen too much and you won't hear. Bottle too much up and you'll cry tears. Look too hard and you'll never see clear. Squeeze too tightly and it'll disappear. Too many bets and you'll be broke. Too much fire and you'll turn to smoke. Prepare too well, you'll never be surprised. Talk too much and you can never be wise. When a cloud can't take any more, it drains, and the dry earth gets the rain. A lot like us, the world feels pain. So I sing as the tears fall from the sky. As the storm's brewing on the inside, for anything to grow, the sky has to cry. So go ahead and let it rain from your eyes. It's okay to cry, by the way. I don't know if anybody's not okay with that. Oh, Night Jasmine, love you. And I'm glad you were able to come here and help you feel better. It helps me feel better. It's great to have this community. We can process things together. So I hope tomorrow is a much more wonderful day for you. And you have beautiful, sweet dreams. And anybody listening that wants to send her pure, positive, wonderful energy to have her have coherent dreams tonight, then awesome. Sash said that was beautiful poem. Thanks, Sash. So go ahead and let it rain from your eyes. So I was saying, dude, crying, I cry a lot. I'm a crier. It's not like I cry at the drop of a hat, right? But when I feel tears, I cry, whether it's just being sad, but in movies or just engaging the emotion of whatever I'm experiencing. Because tears are interdimensional waters. They're literally coming from your eyes. Like think about the cleansing and the washing, being able to release, to pass, to move energy through. It's beautiful. Like there just shouldn't be any cultural stigma about it, you know? It's a very human thing, very coherent thing, because you're not stuffing emotion. You know, if you bottle up too much, then you cry, and it feels great usually. Like, oh, I don't know why I wasn't crying before. So I said, who is this? What's this called? It's Dank. Yeah, it's very good. And it's by, again, right here, Morrison Boomer. Oops. And Sunburnt Tongue. Sorry, these are lyrics. And again, at the end of this, here's the video I took. And this is beautiful. And it's live. You can see their hearts in it. Their studio version is good. It's a studio version, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. Okay. And then the contrast to these things are just continuing on here. But too much rain will bring a flood, and there can be no flowers, just mud. And all these wars, just so we can flow the peace down the rivers in blood. Such that I grew up knowing that if you cry, you're a little bitch. So I definitely won't cry when it's necessary. Well, I would encourage you to cry more, sweetheart. I get that that's a cultural thing, but sorry, humans cry, and we're better off for it. A single little candle can be seen for miles in the darkness of the night, and dying plants can take back their life. Just give them a little light. And rarely around others, everyone's different. And that's true. Everyone's different. It's not like if you're not a crier, you're a bad person, you're emotionally stunted. Everybody processes things different. So it's not like you know, really. It's very, very true. Jasmine says, I'm a big crier. I literally would and still cry for everything. So does my son. Well, here's the thing. Okay, in all your crying, do you feel like it benefits you? Do you feel like it's a hindrance to your life? Do you feel like it holds you back? Do you feel like you spend so much time crying, you don't get anything done? Or do you feel like that's purging, it's healing, it's helpful in some way? I'd be curious to your take on that, Jasmine, since you cry a lot. It may be cloudy and it may be night, but the sun's always shining. Bored or skydiving, the time is flying. Playing with the bees, you'll get stung, and even too much singing in the sun will leave you with a sunburnt tongue. And if you love too much, so all these things are talking about if you do things too much, there's a counterbalance to it. All these things up here, just like these are good, but there's the things that we've done too much. Even if you plan too much, you'll never be surprised. You're always planning. And like, what is life without surprises? Obviously, planning is a beneficial thing in a lot of ways, in practical ways, for sure. But if you over plan, it leaves no surprise and a lot of different dynamics. But they get down here and say, sounding like the one thing you can't do too much, like genuinely in a true sense of the word. And if you love too much, what's the problem when you love too much? Oh, you forgive everyone. Only then have you loved enough. And if you love too much, yeah, you love too much. You forgive everyone. Only then have you loved enough. So here's the studio version, and then here's the YouTube video. All right, I'm gonna try it. No, I can't try it. Everybody's too active in the chat. If we get kicked off stream, it'd be super bummer. So I tell you what we'll do. The last thing we'll do when we exit the show here, I'll play the video on the way out. So if it gets pulled, oh well, you can go watch it there, and then it is what it is. But Justin said, when I can't cry, I feel worse, and releasing it feels so much better. But when it gets excessive, I get headaches, and it's too much sometimes. Yeah, totally. Because there is like what I think people jump to sometimes, certain people jump to, is they've seen people where they cry too much, and it's not helpful. It's just this downward spiral or something that's not beneficial. So there's an awareness of that, but really I think a lot of people are probably on the other end of the spectrum, where because they see the far end of the spectrum, the negative of it, they're like, well, I'm just not gonna cry at all, and it's better because I can control my emotions and then I can handle shit. It's like, yeah, you can handle shit, but you're holding all that shit in your body. How about you cry through it, process through, and then continue to handle your shit, process your shit. I don't know, just thought I wouldn't have survived if I showed that much vulnerability. But Jasmine, I prefer to be alone when I'm doing that type of releasing. It's understandable, right? Especially if you're around little people. People will call you a little bitch all the time, or they have that mindset, even if they don't say anything, that they see you as a weaker person. Like that's your, you grew up around our community, then that's totally understandable. So go cry by yourself. That's fine. Go cry with a friend. Just it's more of an internal disposition of a lot of thinking that it's okay to cry. We're not just programmed by the way we grew up in some belief system about crying, but actually allowing ourselves to totally feel and express. Jasmine says, one would say that I used to be a doormat, and now I'm a doorbell. You got to ring before I answer. Beautiful. Well said. Sash saying, okay, bye. I love you all so much. Thank you for the show tonight. Hope to chill with you all soon. Bye, Sash. Have a wonderful night. So there's a few more quotes in here that I'll read, and then I'll probably play the video since we're down to just a couple people, and call it a night. Let's see, I can pull this to pull it at least up like this. There we go. Where's the right camera angle so you can tell I'm reading a book? We'll do that. Okay. The mind can understand conceptually wholeness, but only the heart can experience wholeness. Our reward, if we can endure the experience, is that we don't just grasp wholeness, we feel it. It's by Mark Nepo. It's a wonderful writer, philosopher, speaker, just a wonderful person. Your head sees things as black or white, wrong or right, bad or good. Head is always judging, always off balance. The heart is much faster and wiser than the head. In the eyes of the heart, black and white judgments disappear because the heart is balanced. The heart is balanced by a deeper truth. The Great Spirit spins together moments of profound beauty that can only be experienced with the heart. And when you can truly give thanks for it all and love without conditions, then you will be free. That is the power of the heart. And one more here. It's always a good one. So you fall in love with someone who matches your worth, who feeds the flow of your energy, someone who isn't looking for a trophy or bragging rights. Build with someone who carries your weakness into strength, who reassembles to pray with you and for you. Someone who gives you not only physical but spiritual high, or sapiosexual high, or all the other kinds of highs besides just physical. whose conversation produces healing, someone who can love you into freedom, not cages. When you find this, you have arrived home. Beautiful. So, I'm going to play the song on the way out. And, yeah, I'll say two little things on an outro here after the song plays if we make it through the stream. And if not, then we'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh, shoot, I didn't share tab with audio. Hold on. Pause. Let me reshare this tab. Chrome tab, share audio. There we go. Let's do that. Just realized no audio is coming through, is it, guys? Hold on. I need to. Just realized no audio is coming through. Yeah, it's coming through there. All right, hold on. Ah, it's because it's muted. Well, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Okay, so. Did you guys notice it was about to play our video next? Which is funny, like autoplay. Yeah, isn't that song incredible? I think so. I was listening to the song. That's why I was crying. I'm like listening to the song, and I remember just the energy of it and the feeling. I remember buying their album there. They were selling their guitar case, and listening to that a lot over the next like year or so, on and off. That whole album and that song. And it's funny as I titled it "Good Audio." Like 7 years ago, maybe it was. This is not good audio now. That's what I say. Like cell phone mics are so much better. And I was also talking over it. I noticed, like, I think I remember then even like realizing, oh shit, I didn't even realize my voice was picking up and whatever. So it's kind of a scuff video, but really authentic and incredible human beings. And that last line too: if you love too much, you forgive everyone, and only then have you loved enough. Beautiful. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Love you guys very, very much. Very excited. We're 64.1 or 0.2. This is part 2 episodes in. And we're just rolling right now. So love to see you guys here again. And spread the word if this feels like it sounds resonant for other people you might know or within some community, to just continue to build community. And I'm very happy for the one we have. It's fucking wonderful. You guys are great. And you guys are the core, the beginning, all that shit. It's awesome. The founding members. So love you guys very, very much. Have a wonderful night. I'm going to go eat some ice cream cake that my sister made. Yep. Bye.